You just got a new job.
Well,
right?
I've been on the HCC for 16 years, but I'm chairman again for the second time.
When were you chairman? When was the last time you were chairman?
I've been vice chairman on and off for years, but I was last chairman in January when David Barham was out for an extended length of time because he was sick.
Oh, I see.
And they voted me in as chairman. And then after we got through town meeting and we were able to deflect some of the attacks on the HDC, they didn't need me anymore, so they voted me out and violated the open meeting law.
Uh-oh.
So that's still winding its way through the Attorney General.
Well, so here you are voted. Again. How long will you stay chairman? Do you expect to stay chairman?
Until they find some way to get me out again.
You're kidding.
No.
Why do you keep doing it?
Once you get involved with the HCC, it's really hard to get out.
Why?
Because you make that commitment, and it's a monstrous commitment. It's 4 or 5 hours on Tuesday. It's viewings on the weekends. It's generally, we've been meeting on Thursdays for 2 or 3 hours minimum. So it's a big commitment. You learn a lot. The learning curve is very steep. You pick up how to read a set of plans, how to work with the applicants, things like that. It's very hard to get out. Would I have something else to do on a Tuesday night? Probably.
but your passion, what is it that keeps you doing this and putting this much time into the HDC? So for those folks that are watching this, that are visitors, that come to Nantucket, that love it, that see the way it looks and say, wow, this looks great, for what part of it is because of the HDC. And you obviously are very passionate about your belief in historical preservation. Am I assuming?
Yes, but what people can get confused is that the HCC, the Historic District Commission, created by legislative act back in 1955 and then expanded to the whole island after Tristram's Landing was built and they could see what would happen. They expanded it to the entire island in 1970. But it's not a preservation entity. It's part of the whole big picture. What the HDC is, it's an architectural review board, and it just so happens many of the structures that we review have a historical importance or of a certain type of architectural design. It could have been a more recent vintage, but the architectural design and the architect that built it could be unique to Nantucket. So we're not a preservation entity, but we're part of the larger preservation picture.
And I would think that a lot of that is left to interpretation. Is that where a lot of the conflict comes in?
A lot of the conflict is because it's a guidebook that we work with, Building with Nantucket in Mind, which needs to be revised. It desperately needs to be revised. It's a very old document in general.
How old?
God, I forget how many times it's been revised over the decades. But it really needs to be more updated, made more user-friendly, made more easy to be understood because it's difficult to follow for a lot of the general public. But it's a subjective process. We have 5 people sitting on an application, and everybody has their own opinion. Everybody looks at a piece of artwork, basically. It's a design. And you have to be able to read a plan fairly quickly, which just takes a lot of experience, over time. And it's a nightmare sometimes because you see stuff come through that just would not work here.
Is the nightmare?
It's subjective.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah, and you don't always get 3 people to agree. Most of the time, we work with applicants till we get an acceptable design. It's rare for somebody to come in the first time and actually get an approval, but sometimes they know what they're doing and they know what's going to pass, and they will get an approval. Mm-hmm. But still, you have 5 different opinions. And you have to reach a consensus on what is the best, most appropriate design for the location, the surrounding houses, the neighborhood context, things like that. So what may work in Pocomo may not work in Mataket. And what may work in Tom Nevers will not work on Main Street. So you have to know your audience, basically. So if you get an off-island architect that's not used, or designer that's not used to coming through this process, on the mainland, interior drives the exterior. On Nantucket, the exterior contains the interior because we're solely focused on the interior, on the exterior of a structure, which has great impact on how your interior is set up. And they don't necessarily get it because somebody's coming in here, spent $10 million on a property. They want what they want. They want their, their theater, their spas. One even has 2 dog bathrooms. I can't even go there. And they want what they want here.
Yeah.
It's unlike when I grew up here, because my family's been here for over 85 years.
Right.
Where we didn't have TV, we had an antenna on the roof, and maybe we got Channel 6 to watch the Olympics in the snow, in the snow of the channel. And we didn't have air conditioning, and we were out of the house 24 hours a day. They turn us loose in the morning with our little banana bikes and say, "We come home for dinner." So those days are gone. They want all their creature comforts here on Nantucket instead of the Nantucket experience.
But don't you feel like you have to do that for them?
You have to accommodate them, but they need to understand that they're going to be contained within an exterior architectural design. All roads lead to the HDC. That's the end of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we get architects that come from off island and think we're a bunch of local yahoos. John's been on there since Methuselah. I've been on over 16 years. David Barham was a former architect. Diane Coombs has been here for a long, long time, been on the board for a long time as an alternate, now a regular member. There's a lot of institutional knowledge.
Let's address Kevin. He resigned.
He resigned.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pressure on any chairman to fix it, because in the public's eye, the HCC is broken.
What do you mean by that?
The process is onerous. It's not user-friendly. We are overwhelmed sometimes by the sheer volume that we have to hear. The complexity, some of the stuff we have to deal with, the staffing issues, the violations, the repeated violations of open meeting laws, and et cetera, et cetera. We have got to get our act together, literally and figuratively, because the act itself has so many shortcomings, because it was in the vanguard of historical district acts. It was the first one passed here. There were 3 of them, I believe, that were passed at the same time, and everybody else came in under separate legislation, which fixed some of the stuff. But the act for Nantucket, the length of time it takes, the constructive grant process, how the alternates are appointed if one resigns. There's so many problems with the act that have to be fixed. So we're going to do a comprehensive review of the act itself.
When?
We're in the process of doing it now.